Yes, okay. They can hear me in the back. All right, before we get started with our speaker, I want to share our verse of the week. Did you guys get it at your tables? Have you guys been enjoying the scripture of the week? Has that been a good addition? Okay, all right, thanks for that feedback. Okay, so our scripture this week is Lamentations 3:21 through 23. It says, "Yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." Such a good verse. Okay, so I am so excited to introduce our speaker today. I already told you guys this is a really important topic I'm really passionate about. So our speaker today is Kim McGivern. She has you can clap too, that's fine. Woo, woo, woo! You can clap for that. So she brings over 28 years of experience in law enforcement, guys. She has been an inventory certified coach and a graduate of the IMPD Leadership Academy. The great thing, one of the wonderful things about Kim is that her and her husband were here for years as a part of this church. They actually were both saved here at Grace House. Yeah, you can clap for that too. It's awesome. And then they recently left us as a part of the Grace House 100 because they are pastoring a church now in Bloomfield, down in southern Indiana. So doing great things down there in Bloomfield. So we are very grateful to have Kim here to speak to us about self-defense and protecting ourselves and our families. So can you guys help me give her a big Mom's Morning Out welcome?
Good morning. Where's my Tracy Murray at? Who you know how much and how fearful I am of speaking. So it may take me a minute to get in a little bit of a groove. I say that I did spend some time in undercover narcotics, and sometimes I'd write a wonderful, beautiful, amazing story that Tracy Murray had everything to do with. And I'm going to put a plug in for her dad real quick, that as a prayer warrior. After my mom passed away, her journals are what led me to this church. This was her church. But John Tanguma's name was in her journal, and it said prayer warrior. And that's just a legacy that Grace was built upon. And that's how we ended up where we are. So, all right, we're going to get kind of right into this. We'll go to a slide here. And this is going to be the picture that you see on your table, and it's also where we have questions at. And I like this slide because if all that happens is that you learn something new and you are able to say that I opened your eyes to something, that would be good. What I hope is that no one gets upset with me, no one gets mad at me, no one feels like steps to make yourself safer, and you're lucky that you don't have on a blue shoe and a brown shoe when you went out the door. So know that I'm not judging you. I do have 5 children, and I'm raising a grandson, so I can tell you that I get it. And 2 of my children are within 2 years in age together, so I had the baby and the toddler running from me at the same time. So I'm hoping that you choose awareness. And welcome. Okay, so we're gonna get right into it. You're looking at headlines, recent headlines. You guys, there are a lot of women and children who get abducted. This is something that happens, and we have to talk about it. And this is something that you may think you hear it in the news and you don't know anybody that this has ever happened to. I'm also thinking about the number of times that there were close calls. We're going to talk about a particular case. I've got a screen that has a map on it. We're going to talk about this map. And I don't know if you can see real good, but there's some X's on there. There are some circles on there. Would someone set me a 12-minute timer that's going to pertain to this? And when that timer goes off, will you hold it up so we can see what that amount of time feels like? Okay, anybody got me? Okay. So this is a map. This is part of the campus at Indiana State University. This is a young woman who was going for a walk, kind of a fitness walk. Her police report says that she left from her apartment and was going for a walk, and it was Labor Day weekend, drove up next to her and honked the horn and yelled, "Hey!" And she couldn't really see who it was. She could see a blue Indiana State University shirt with a logo on it. So she kind of went up to the car a little bit to see which of her friends was flagging her down, looked in and realized she didn't know this man. He's about 26 years old, kind of a big guy. And she did the, "Oh, no thank you, because these guys are catcalling you, and they're trying to take you, get you to get a ride." So she starts walking away, and he punches the steering wheel, makes the horn honk really loud, long, punches it, gritting his teeth, and he's yelling, "Get in the car, get in the car." And she's on foot, and she's not wanting anything to do with that, puts a little bit of pep into her step, kind of keeps an eye on him, and then at these 3 circles closed, so there's not a lot of people around, and she's trying to figure out what she's going to do. She actually is on the phone with her boyfriend. That's a trendy thing you young folks do. You have the open FaceTime going, and he was like sharing her walk with her. So her boyfriend is freaked out because she's saying, "I'm being chased by someone." Her boyfriend is trying to decide what he does because he doesn't want her to get off the phone with him. He's in another state. He's, in his police report, states that he was banging on the doors of different dorm rooms around him. He's in grad school also, and he's banging on these doors, and nobody's there. It's Labor Day weekend. He wants to use somebody else's phone to keep his girlfriend on the phone, and he can tell them where she is and that she needs help. So she has 3 encounters where this man, great idea, it's lined by hedges. As you can see, that green line, the driver of the car continued behind her, jumped over the curb, went through the bushes, and chased her into the parking lot. The 3 X's that show up there are where this same man takes his car and tries to block her. He physically takes his car and then stops in front of her where she's doing this and moving from the car and trying to figure out how she's going to get around him. 3 different times he tries to do that, and each time he's yelling at her and telling her to get in the car. And she is running, and she is running. And this is from her Apple Watch that she was wearing that the police department took from her so that they could download this. They actually downloaded all of the stats where it shows how much a group of football players who were leaving a practice. And you're sitting here and you're thinking, it's a group of guys. She's going to say, "Help, help, I need help." Okay, she's being chased by a guy. This is a group of guys. She was too afraid to tell these guys what was happening, but she got in with them, and she just walked in their group where she could keep an eye on the car that was still there. And then at the end, she runs her apartment that she lives in off campus. She has a key card, and she was able just to use the key card or a key fob and just jump immediately into her apartment, where she was able to call the police and let them know what had happened. I did not bring from that police report the campus photos, but all of the campus photos picked up exactly what this young woman had said. So in her police report, what will really stand out to you is that she said, "I knew not to get taken." This is still fresh. It's 2 years old. We have court over this. We go to court in May. It's a jury trial unless he pleads guilty. He was apprehended that night. He was not apprehended on the scene. He was apprehended that night when sorority girls called. They were gathered up to a phone, and they were upset, and they were saying, "There's a man in our parking lot, and he's hiding, and we think he's trying to kidnap someone." And the police responded and were able to apprehend him. So Sam is a survivor because she listened to a lot of things that we said, but the most significant thing is that she said, "My parents told me to not get taken." If I can tell you with all honesty that when someone is trying to force you into a vehicle, even if it is at gunpoint, Your chances of survival greatly take one of my children, and I have to go with my child. That is about the only thing I can think of that would make me know that I would be compliant. I am telling you that what they want to do to you in private, you would rather have them do something in public. What's going to happen in private, the chances when we worked IMPD of recovering someone once they're taken, your chances are not as great. So, and if you do get taken, your survival is going to have to kick in, and you are going to have to do things that you don't want to do, and you're going to have to submit to things that you don't want to submit to in order to stay alive, because that should be your goal, is trying to stay alive. So if you're thinking around the month of May, we could use your prayers for a jury trial. He is probably going to plead guilty. He was charged with felony stalking, a felony of using his vehicle as a deadly weapon, it into about 1,000 pieces, and don't let them have it. It looks like a gun, and someone's going to get shot for holding that. That is actually a cell phone. You can go to the next one. You've heard of people who have toy guns, and you wonder how come police officers shoot people who don't have a real gun. This is an airsoft gun. This is the kind of thing that people play with when they're shooting at each other and they're all suited up. It looks just like a real gun. If someone points that at you, you're probably going to feel like you had a real gun pointed at you. If kids get a hold of this and they're in a car and the car is stopped by the police, it could be a bad scenario for teenagers in a car. So I would be really cautious that if you do play those kind of war things, that you only do that in a designated area. Next one. I know a lot of people probably have newer cars and you don't have this issue, but always be mindful that what you see in that back rear view. Okay, so this is in the trunk of newer cars. If you get put into the trunk of your car, you may have one of these in your car. You can pop it open when the time is right to get away. And you also might, if it's your car, you might put something that you can defend yourself with inside the back of this car underneath the mat. A young woman that was abducted is in a huge campaign to make sure that people know, because she was wearing something for being a diabetic, and it lit it up, and she said she totally forgot that she had a way to pull that, and then it caught the light of her medical device, so she was able to free herself. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of videos of toddlers who are taken, and I will tell you that the toddlers were immediately found before anybody could do anything to them. So I'm not showing you a video that is going to break your heart, because they are alive and well and they are found. But I want you to just look at a little girl exits the area. She's said to be under 3 years old. And he literally walks up to her and just picks her up, and then he takes her and he gets all the way to the second floor of the mall. So we'll watch the two videos back to back. I'll set up the next one for you. The other one is a young man, and this is a little boy under, I think he's only 2 years old. He is playing in the park with two of his siblings, and they have a babysitter. And it's not a big public park, it's more like one inside a housing addition. So the babysitter actually went back to the house to get something, and she left the three kids alone in the park because it's a neighborhood park and she felt safe doing that. We're at 12 minutes, so I asked for that 12 minutes. My daughter ran for 12 minutes from that man. I wanted y'all to know this, that the 12-minute timer went off so you could see back, and then we'll talk about him. Okay, if we don't have the other one, it's okay. So I think one thing that we have to really realize, and we have to talk about, you guys, is there are adult men who are taking children, boys and girls, and I just have to look around the room and ask you what you think they want with your children. I mean, we don't have a lot of indentured servants here. We don't have, your little kids are not going to be 2 years old and mop and clean for them. That's not what they're looking for. And I think you really have to be able to somehow process in your head that there are adult men who want to have sexual intercourse with toddlers. And it is heartbreaking and it is disgusting, but it is in our society. And I think that if you are going to the store, you are going to the mall, you're going to the... And that's why I say, don't ever get mad at me for doing one of these, but I have to tell you that I go to the store and I see 2 and 3 kids in a cart, and I see a mom having a miserable day and turning her back and grocery shopping and expecting other kids in her family to watch their siblings. So I see 10 and 12-year-olds who are being told to watch your brother, go watch your brother. I can tell you that I took a police report where the child was the last witness to their younger sibling being taken, and they were really broken and said, I was supposed to be watching my brother. I was supposed to know where he was. That's an awful lot of pressure we're putting on our kids to watch their sibling. And I just have to ask you to think about if that's what you're doing and if that's what you expect out of your kids, that they watch each other. And it kind of makes me sad that maybe some moms, the only time they get out and they feel like they have some freedom to get half the things that you actually wanted to buy at the store, that maybe there's a way to come together with other women and you meet at the same time and you help each other and you support each other. Maybe there's a way to time it so it's at a different time where you don't have to be the person solo with your kids. So I hope that the expectation isn't that you are the only person that can go to the store and you have to take all the kids with you, because it just looks like an accident waiting to happen. I feel like we'll talk about just parking garages. I think they're horribly unsafe. They are, you think about the ones like at the hospital and things like that. Sometimes for people who are without a home, they're actually living underneath these parking garages, and that's not going to be safe, but they're absolutely dark. I don't know about anybody else. Do you forget where you parked at? I swear there's a parking lot ferry, whether it's at the grocery store, at the mall, or what. It's a lot better. But I would try to avoid the parking garages. I know that could mean that you have to walk. That puts you outside for street-level parking. But it's just something that you should consider. And you know that when you're at the store and you're the mom, you're leaning into your vehicle and you're buckling up kids, you have no idea just what's going on around you. And I didn't bring a lot of videos. A couple of things. I'm always crummy at getting them to work, for one thing. But the other thing is, I had women who really felt like I was putting it in their face, because I had videos of women who are leaning into their car and they're buckling up their kids and their purse is getting taken out of the car. Their backs are totally turned. And I don't think women need one more thing piled on them where you're looking at me and you're going, what do you want me to do? I have to buckle up my kids. I have to have my back turned. But that's just something you're going to have to be more aware of and you're going to have to think about. And the time that in those videos you see that purse grabbers and things like people like that, they're already in place before you get into their scenario. They're already there. They're sitting back. They're in a car. They're watching. They see everything that you're doing. They're willing to wait for you to go in once they've spotted you and see that you're the mom that's all over the place and you got a great big huge bag and they really want it. They're willing to sit in that parking lot for an hour or so and wait for you to come back out, because they know your disarray is going to be even worse when you exit the store. And they want that great big shiny purse that you're carrying. Now, I'm a fanny pack person, so I'm a little bit harder to, take my bag usually. I'm also a messenger bag person, but I don't know that there's a kind of purse that is or isn't better than any other one. Say that? Oh, okay, I said we can watch this other video too. It's okay, that's good. You get the gist of it. So they said that she was actually in the upstairs area and saw a man walking by holding her child. That's how he was apprehended. So honestly, more than likely he was going to an upstairs level bathroom is what was going to happen. So just show you these things, not to break your heart, but our kids need to be able to say no, and they need to be able to say no very loudly, very forcefully. Your kids tell you no all the time, right? If we could channel that to when someone picks you up, when someone comes too close, when someone it's not someone that we have invited into our closeness like that. So they've got to be able to say no. You can do the next one. I want to talk about shopping malls. So shopping mall, it can be a crazy place. This is a food court. This is probably your the entry and exit point for weeks out at a mall, and you watch the videos of people running for their lives, whether it's a fight or a shots fired or whatever. Everyone is trying to get back to the food court in order to exit the mall because they only know of those doors. If you'll go to another slide, I have actually seen videos where people are running to get out of a mall, and it says stop, employees only, and people stop and they turn around and they go look for a different way to exit. So we're law-abiding, right? We're rule followers. Don't let these signs, and I think I got a couple more screens, don't let the signs of a fire exit go through these doors. Go ahead and go to a different one. You need to exit wherever you can exit, and then you don't get what we call bottlenecked in the food court area. People have literally run past exit points looking for the food court exit. So when you go to your mall, maybe not your smaller stores, but your larger stores that are at the mall, they have back loading docks so that they know you're not the person. I don't know whether a person would or wouldn't remember to do that. If they're out there directing you and they've got a gun, usually a gun in your face, you're like, okay, I get it now, but I don't know that you necessarily would remember that. Okay, so we're going to get to this one. So, are you more brave when you enter or more brave when you choose awareness? So half this room is probably looking at the picture, and you see the Lion of Judah. You see Jesus in that image, and you're very excited because he's going to welcome and help these 3 smaller ones with their journey. The other half realizes that the lion just had DoorDash come, and he's really super excited because his meal just arrived in front of him. So one time at the city county building when I was in full uniform, and I was this very big, bad, brave policewoman, I had to go to court against some bad guys. The elevator opened up, their buddy that was in jail, and they knew that they knew me. I didn't recognize them. And I'm in the elevator thinking, this was my worst mistake, is that I stepped in, it kind of didn't look right to me, and I still stepped in because I didn't want to look like I was either racist or I was afraid or, I don't know, anything. So I got on in the elevator, and they talked about me in the elevator. They talked about what they could do. It's not illegal. I couldn't arrest them and go, because you said you were going to do this to me. I just endured it. And I just came up with the thought that there's so many things that we do that we don't have to do, that you feel like you've already committed to it, so you're going to finish it out when it's not smart. So I put this picture here because I can't tell you what that situation's going to be. I can't tell you if this is Narnia and you're home free or if it's DoorDash. I can't tell you the difference. Do something or take your family out of a situation. You know that like honey get your purse moment that your husband can be like, we're out of here because something's going on. Let that be how you feel. Do you have kids and you send them over to a birthday party or something? You're fine when they're little. As they get older, your kid may text you from a high school party and say, Mom, everybody here's drinking. Can you come pick me up? The reason your child will do that is because you set that up by being a living example and showing them that there are situations that I, as a mom, was getting ready to take you into, and I got this gut feeling that this wasn't good for us, so we left from the situation. That's what we want our kids to do. That's what you're going to tell them to do. Come off the playground if there's some weird person. Come and tell me immediately. But if we can't do it because we're afraid of the ridicule, we're afraid that we're going to get called something. Hear my heart. My heart is full of love. It's full of love for people who don't think the way I think. It's full of love for people who don't believe in Jesus. I want to do ministry everywhere I go. But if I walk into an event where I've paid for tickets and I'm getting ready to sit next to a person who looks to me like they are not comfortable with their self, they are not good in their own skin, they are having some kind of a mental crisis that makes you still want to have all your facial hair and get real breasts put on. And I'm just being real honest with you. This man was not doing the hormone therapy. He wanted to be part man, part woman. I am not sitting next to this man at a game where I intended to come and have fun. My husband is not going to be the elected member of our family to sit next to him, nor are any of mine to sit and enjoy this game, because I'm going to be worried about the words. I'm going to be worried about a lot of things. Shortly after family sat next to this man, he killed his ex-wife, he killed his son, who had just graduated high school recently. He killed his father-in-law, ex-father-in-law, and he shot his ex-mother-in-law and a family friend, and he killed himself. If you go think about that elevator scene, I can't tell you, but something about this isn't right. Does it mean that I may blow tickets that we spent $100 on? And you don't know until the very minute you get there and you're getting ready to sit down. It just doesn't look right. You don't have to make an excuse for the public around you. You don't have to save face. You can, I forgot my purse. And if you go in public places with not much humility, I think most of us girls, we aren't even wearing things like this anyways. You know what I mean? So it would be hard for me to sit next to a woman wearing all of this and feel like I was comfortable with my family. So I'm just telling you, and hear my heart, that you just need to know when some situations are unsafe. And that may be my last slide. I asked Kevin to come up here for just a second. In the wise voice of Tracy, I'll talk. She's smart. Yeah. Until I'm ready. You're good. Help him, Jesus. No, I'll be fine, because it's just a little thing. And we are people who are normally armed, and I normally put mine in a fanny pack that is made. It's called Elite Survival System. It's a fanny pack that has a holster in it. You don't ever just throw your gun in the bottom of your purse with your lipstick and stuff. It doesn't work that way. It has to be in a dedicated holster. So I carry that, but I'm not armed today. But what do you do? So I asked Kevin to come, and I asked him to do that thing where he's just going to be like closing the gap, where somebody's just getting too close to you. Now, my daughter Samantha, her attacker stayed in his vehicle the whole time. But a lot of times, somebody is just too doggone close to you, and what do you do about it? So I'm going to set this down. If we're not in a ticket line at the movie, so I always use a new person on that because I wanted you to see his eyes. He didn't expect it. Now, I told him that I wasn't going to touch him, so he knew I wasn't doing any karate chop stuff. But he didn't expect it, and it startled him. It will give you what you need. So you can teach that to your kids. You can do this at home. And ladies, you have an opportunity right now, because this is a safe place. Tia said I could let you guys all know that if you can pick a partner at your table, and we're going to do this a couple times. Because, look, you really haven't yelled really loud like that in your life. Feel like you're turning yourself inside out. You have to use a voice that is such a big voice that everybody is looking. Because bad guys don't want to be under the spotlight. And then people ask me, what if you get it wrong? What if they're going, you dropped your glove? Just say thank you. Just play it off, okay? I'm just telling you. But you should practice it just for fun, but you really should use your biggest voice you have. And when you show it to your kids, you want them to be able to do it too. Because in that mall one where the guy was scooped up the little girl, if she would have had to get back and made herself rigid and dropped herself to the ground, things like that they tell you to do, that would be good. So will anybody practice that just for fun? And let me see you practice it for fun. You're going to probably think that you're like too embarrassed to. I mean, I can practice it with somebody off, whatever. Something that's easy and big and loud and doesn't have a lot of syllables in it, And somebody just be lurky to you. And just turn around. And you're not being polite. You're not smiling first. You're looking right at their eyes and you are yelling, get back. Because whatever he was doing, other than giving me my glove back, he was too close. Okay, so somebody practice it. I see willing people. And you get to use your big voice. And we literally can do it around the room. Absolutely. Absolutely. And look how fun that is. Doesn't that startle you? Doesn't that? Yeah, you got it. Does anybody else want to do it? This is such a safe place. This is where we're super, super safe. Someone that's looking for your vulnerabilities, they're looking for your niceness, your politeness. They're expecting you to be compliant. Everything about you, you're pulled together, you're comfortable, you look like someone that's going to be a rule follower. They're not expecting you to scream and yell in their face. Some other things that I do when I'm going into a business in the big glass windows, do you know you can catch your reflection? You can see. You ever look at the people behind you when you're walking in somewhere, using the glass at the ATM, using the glass? One thing I always ask ladies to do when you drive home today and you get to the stoplight, look over at the person to your right and the person to your left. You're going to decide you hate that kind of eye contact. You don't even know them and you're safely in your car. And you have that much trouble looking over at someone. Like, what if you had to describe them? What if I have to describe this lady over here and say what she's wearing? She's wearing it. I can't do it if I can't look at her. We really have trouble. Carjackers have come up, opened up doors. Don't keep shopping. I don't care if you have all 99 of the 100 things you needed. I have seen videos where a child is being held at knife point from a Walmart store, and there's literally a lady reaching around them trying to get something off of a shelf. She is not even aware that it's going on. And the guy with the knife to his kid's head is looking at her throat, is looking at her like she's crazy. And she's like, excuse me. There's no awareness. There's no awareness. If you let your kids go look at something in the store together, maybe your 12-year-old takes your 6-year-old and they're going to go look at something in the store toy aisle, and you tell them to meet you back at the grocery aisle, what happens if there's shots fired in the store? You probably don't have a plan of where you're going to meet. And your kids could be really close to the exit, but they run into the store and they're running around looking for you. Most of us don't have that kind of a conversation where you have a plan. If something really looking at the racks of clothes and I hear a guy on the other side who is like cussing out every piece of clothing, and he's having an episode of some sort, but he was just like hateful and terrible and talking about all the things he's going to do. I'm like, man, there's some good stuff in here, and I have to go because I know that if something happens, I'm going to be taking some kind of action. I already know this, and I feel like the stores need to be good about inviting someone to leave when they're disruptive, and they don't. You've seen videos. You guys can Google so much of this. Lady goes off in a store. There was a lady that went off inside a pet store, and she just like walked down a whole aisle of people, looked at one person, and just threw him a punch. that person was so unsuspecting, but everybody was watching her have her crazy meltdown. Leave. Take yourself and your family out of that situation. If you're not the one that's called there to resolve, if it's Narnia or DoorDash, I don't know. You have to ask yourself that, and you have to be ready to leave when it's time to leave. If your kids always get away from you, that's not good. And if you're the parent going, oh, I just love her spirit and her free will and all that, you're going to hate it if they get away from you and something happens. And I don't show you videos of that because you get mad at me. But you have to be able to take control. One of the questions on here is, if you tell your children to come to you immediately, do they come to you or do they just keep running? We have a child that ran out of our church the other day. He's 3, and he ran out the doors and ran around the window and peeked in at everybody. It's a family that we love, and they're just having a hard time getting them under control. I can tell you, my husband went out there and used his police officer voice, and the kid was like putty. And everybody in the church was like, oh, and they have to be able to come back to you. Some families use words. I had a gal I worked with, her word was popcorn. If I say popcorn, my kids all come, and they know something's wrong. If I say popcorn, my kids think we're watching a movie and we're eating. So that that one doesn't work for me. But I like to be real, and I like to be, this is dangerous. We're leaving from here. This is dangerous. But I will tell you, if you take your family out of situations, which we've done before, you got to go do something fun, even if it means you blew the money you spent, because you aren't getting your money back on the seats that you gave up because the situation wasn't right. But you have to go do something to celebrate and have fun, and you use that as, this is why I want you to text me when you're at a party and everybody's drinking and you want to come home. That's why I want you to text me when you're shopping at the mall and they're telling you it's your turn to steal because it's fun. Those little texts that you can get from your kids, but they won't do them if you're not living them out loud yourself. And I could just talk forever, but I'll probably just say thanks. And definitely squash that screen. We've seen enough.
All right. Thank you, Kim. So you guys have some table discussions on your tables that your leaders can talk to you guys about. We'll have some table discussion time, and then I'll come up when it's time for prayer. But thank you so much, Kim. That was really informative. We appreciate you.